Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Making Of podcast. Actually, we're the Making of Evelina Smiles with Dr. Rich Constantine. I'm so excited to bring you guys along for the ride. Last we did an overview of Dr. Rich's story, and today we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details of where he started. But before we get into that, let's start it with a this or that. You guys know we like to break the ice here. So, Dr. Rich, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. It looks like you are outside,
I am. It's a nice
and
day today.
it's a nice day in South Carolina, 70 degrees, you said.
Yeah. Yep.
I think you look very tan. You look darker than me right now. I don't know if it's the
I've been getting some sun lately, but yeah, like I said, it's about to get humid down here, and so we've had a lot of sunny days lately. So I've tried to spend a lot of time outside before it gets to be unbearable.
Oh, nice. Well, good for you. All right. So this or that, Rich. No pizza forever or only pizza for life?
Oh, no pizza forever.
No pizza forever?
Yeah. Even though there's a lot of ways you could have your pizza, there's just too many other foods I like.
Yes, yes. Amen to that. Ability to become invisible versus be able to read minds.
Invisible.
Invisible. Is your inbox at 0 or a bunch of unread emails?
It's not quite at 0, but compared to most people, it's closer to
It's
0
pretty
than
good.
anything else. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good for you. Don't live like the other people like me. And then home cooking or DoorDash?
Home cooking,
Yeah.
100%.
Wait, who does all the cooking at home?
We do it together. It's a team effort. We eat pretty simple at home, so yeah, we don't really stray from like vegetables, meats, rice, potatoes, stuff like that is usually home, or salads, big salads. But like anything goes when we go out. But we
Yeah.
cook together.
That is awesome. Well, you guys are both extremely fit. I want to pick your brain about all the things you're doing, but that is going to be probably on another episode because we got a lot to catch up on. Okay, so
Yeah.
I will also choose no pizza forever because my favorite kind of food is Japanese and like sushi and Italian. I think just constraining your diet to just pizza, I think I'd be very sad about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would want to be invisible. I definitely don't want to read minds. I think I have enough voices in my head that I don't need anybody else to add to that. So okay, so then I would choose invisible. And my inbox, I'm embarrassed to say that there's probably 1,200 unread emails. I hate emails so much. And I know that there are AI programs that will help get that to 0. So I need a bunch of.
So my Gmail app on my phone currently says 84, and the 84 bothers me because I can't find them. Like I don't know where to go to, and that's 3 email accounts all in one. And it bothers me because I've gone back through my read messages and I don't know if they're hidden somewhere else, but I can't find them. But I would really like for it to be 0.
Did you type in the search label : unread and it'll.
No, I'll have to try that.
Yes, label : unread and it'll show you all your unread.
Okay. It's kind of an OCD thing, but I would really like to know.
Do you like how I have a tip for you, even though
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get back. I think let's just get into it, shall we? Location and site selection. So how did you find your real estate partner? Like what's even the process for someone who is looking at, because obviously you're doing a ground up construction. Can you walk us through how you found your land and where you even got started and looking for a real estate partner?
Yeah, so we could go at this 2 different directions because being that this is my second ground up construction de novo, the two times I've done it were pretty different in as far as how I selected where I wanted to be. Do you want me to compare and contrast?
Yes,
Do you have time to?
absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you have two different perspectives.
Yeah. So the first time we did our scratch start ground up build, we wanted to be closer to downtown Greenville, South Carolina, because we just love the energy. We love the vibe. It was an area where at the time we thought we might want to live one day. And we had only been down here in the South for probably about 5, 6 years at that time. And I had been an associate up till then.
Mhm.
And so we would take walks downtown when we went out to eat. And we had friends that lived down there. And we would always walk past this lot that was just this nice little wooded corner lot that was listed as commercial, but they had plans for it. And we were just thinking, man, that would be a great spot for a standalone dental office because it was across the street from an internist office and it was close to downtown and everything was just being built up around it. So that was how we decided on that because we felt like if we started a practice in an area that we thought we might want to live one day, it was an area where we were proud to say, hey, this is us. We're gonna set up shop here, and it worked out really well. But that was kind of how we decided on that spot. That was in 2015. Fast forward to where we are now. I had a couple things that I had to look at. I had to look at where was growth going because Greenville is one of those cities where it's a little bit locked as far as how far downtown can grow outward, even though it's done a really good job of doing it strategically. But it's also cool that all the surrounding towns, all the surrounding little mill towns that once had their own industry are starting to revamp their little downtowns and kind of become their own unique areas. So with my parting ways with the DSO that I sold to, just like so many people, I had a non-compete that I
Mm,
had to look outside. And so that was kind of where I started my search was, okay, what are the areas outside of my non-compete that I might want to set up shop again? And from there, it was just contact a realtor that I felt good about. And luckily I had that relationship and then we just started looking.
was the realtor you used for this one the same person you used for the first location?
Trying to think. I actually, who did my closing? The first build that we just came upon because it wasn't for sale at the time. We just contacted the builder that currently had a project plan for that area and he was getting some pushback from the city for what he wanted to put on that piece of land. And I worked with my builder to try to get a note into the guy that, if his project didn't take off, we would be interested in purchasing the lot. So
Nice.
I know we ended up using a realtor, but it was more just for the closing of the land. It wasn't a search.
Gotcha. And did you mention how far your non-compete was?
It was 10 miles
Mm,
as the crow flies. Yeah.
10 miles. And how far away is your office from where you live?
Right now we're renting a place because we have some land that we're renting to build on. So it's
Oh,
it's probably a
nice.
good it's probably a good half hour from where we're renting right now. But once we're able to build on our land, it'll probably be a 15 to 20 minute drive. And I kind of like having a little bit of a wind up on the way to work and then a wind down on the way home. It just kind of helps me to,
Yeah.
as much as I say this, I still take it home with me. But it's, you try to leave work at work if you can.
Those are true words to live by. And with my second location, it's about 30 minutes away
Mhm.
as well. And I honestly, I look forward to that drive home in silence where I can decompress, not bring it home. And you don't have to run into every patient you see at the grocery store, at the gym. Like it just gets weird. I've actually ran into so many people in the Folsom area because I live in Folsom.
Uh-huh.
And I'll say hi to them and they're like, "Oh, you actually like come here?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a real human too."
I know it's like when you're a little kid and you have a teacher, you
Yep.
see, like I remember when they would like bring police officers and firemen to talk to you and stuff like that. And then you would see them out of uniform and you're like, you're not the same person. You're dressed different, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
But
Uh,
yeah, I try to have good enough relationships with my patients to where I don't have to hide from them in the in the grocery store. But yeah, it's definitely good to have some separation there. And I love to drive, so I think over a half hour might get old if you're doing it every day, but
yeah,
half hour is fine with me.
yeah. Well, do you have any tips if a doctor is looking at hiring a realtor? Like, are there any questions you would recommend they ask or
I was able to form one through some charity work that we did and just some people that we knew. That's kind of how I sought ours out.
gotcha.
And then they recommended somebody within the company that they thought would be good for what I was trying to do. But I think most areas, if you just pay attention to, a lot of the advertising, just driving around, you can kind of see who's marketing themselves the hardest. And
Yeah.
I don't want to say that, the biggest is the best because that's not always the case, but you kind of can get a feel on who has their finger on the pulse for the market in the area, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you mentioned that you did your own demographics, Rich, for this area. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, I would say to an extent. There really wasn't too much demographic research on the first practice because of where it was. Everything kind of had already happened in the area. But some things I learned in the process is, if you're looking to go into an area and you're trying to project future growth, some of the things that you can look at are how close am I in proximity to some of the major highways? Are there new big gas stations going in? If you do an aerial shot on Google Maps, can you see like a lot of dirt being overturned for neighborhoods? Are companies like Starbucks or some of the bigger restaurant chains or grocery stores? I mean, because all those companies before they put money into things, they're doing a lot of demographic research of their own. And so if they've done it, you can be pretty sure that they know that the growth is going to happen in that area. So that's kind of what I did for this one. And then some additional information was I had heard some rumblings that one of the hospital systems was looking to expand in the area and had bought up some land. And a high school that was in the area that was only a few years old was already doing an expansion on the high school. So
Oh, nice.
all those things to me were good signs. And it was also on the county border, and I knew that the county south of us was also experiencing some growth as well. So it just seemed like a good spot to be.
Rich, do you know how many other dentists are in the area currently?
I don't. I know how many are in the direct vicinity to me, and it's only like four or five. But
Oh, wow.
within the county, there's hundreds of dentists, and you know, everything's pretty much, I would say, 20 to 30 minutes from things. So, um, it definitely does dilutes the market, I guess. But when you're in an area that's growing so fast,
Right.
and I don't think you can be scared of competition. If
Yeah,
that's where you want to be, that's where you want to be. So you got to make sure that people know who you are and that you're standing out from the rest.
absolutely. And what is the population of Greenville?
Oh, I would probably throw out an incorrect number. I know that the Tri-County area is well over 1 million people. I can't
Oh,
remember
wow.
exactly how many is actually within just the county. I would have to look it up real quick.
Rich, what is the closest major city to where Greenville is?
Charlotte is probably hour and 15, hour and a half north of us. Atlanta's 2.5 hours, I would say, south of us. And then Columbia, South Carolina, which is the capital, is only about another hour and a half toward the coast. So we're kind of, we're right in the middle of some major economic hubs.
Nice.
And
But
we're
so
located right on a major interstate. So everybody's kind of passing through.
would you consider Greenville pretty rural then? Or it's a
Not
pretty,
compared, I mean, not compared to where I grew up. I think a lot of the surrounding areas might be kind of rural. Like it's definitely not as big as Charlotte or Atlanta,
gotcha.
and I don't think it has necessarily the potential to get quite as big as those two places, which is a good thing in my opinion. But I think they've done a really good job trying the best that they can to control that growth so that
Yes.
Greenville tries to keep the field. I mean, there've been a ton of highway projects and stuff, and it's always kind of like too little, too late. They'll do these expansions, and then, I mean, the traffic's just as bad.
Yeah.
Nothing like Atlanta, but I mean, it's a lot different than when we moved here 16, 17 years ago.
All righty. So now that we know kind of the lay of the land,
Mhm.
what can you walk us through your financing process, the loan application? Like, how do you even get started? Like, did you start the loan application first to see what you could qualify for before you found the land?
Yeah, I always meet with the bank and my accountant first before we go into anything. But again, this is a little bit different situation this time. The first time, it was more of a like a heart to heart conversation with my accountant first. And initially, I was thinking I was probably going to have to do something where I either leased a space, or if I wanted to purchase this land and build a building, I might have to do kind of like a builder finance thing where the builder would build the building and then I would lease it back from them for a period of time and then eventually buy it from them.
Okay.
But the more and more we come through things and met with banks as far as what I was required to put down, the accountant said, you know, I think it'd probably be wise, as long as you feel comfortable stretching yourself a little bit, to go ahead and do this with the location that you're looking at and just be the owner from day one. And so that's what we did. I was scared to death that first time around
Yeah.
because, like I had said, I'm the first dentist in my family. You know, we had some business owners, but that loans of that size was not something that we talk about often. So when I bought that land, I just remember um, the cost of the dirt alone and how small the lot was. But a few weeks later, after I bought it, there were some houses being bought down the street where they were paying well over what I paid, and then they were tearing the houses down and just building new houses on them.
Right.
So that made me feel a little bit better.
Better.
And then this time around, I was working with the same bank that has supported me the past 15 years in all of my business, everything that I've wanted to do. And they've just been great helping me out. And they were really supportive of the vision and the project and what was coming to the area where I wanted to build. So there wasn't as much legwork this time around because I already had kind of my team in place, I guess.
Did I was gonna say, are you working with a local bank, you said?
Yeah, I'm working with a local bank. You know, there's been some projects within dentistry from time to time that I've looked at some dental specific lenders.
Hmm.
Um, and when I did the first practice, I really wanted to, not that SBA loans are bad, but I wanted to try to do this without an SBA loan if I could, just to keep things a little bit more simple. So I was able to do that with both of these projects, even though the second project's a lot bigger. But that was something that was important to me, and happy that we were able to do it.
Rich, can you walk us through the documents that you had to provide to the bank so that they can know what your budget is, like what they can approve you for? Because if this is someone's first venture, you obviously have to show me proof of funds, proof of production. Can
Yeah.
you remember what you had to give the bank?
Yeah, I had to come up with I think it's always good to have a business plan and a pro forma, even though I mean, you know as well as I do, you can make those things look as good as you want to. And I think the bank is kind of onto that. I mean, they wouldn't be lending money the way they do if they weren't onto that. But they still like to see it because they know that you've done your due diligence and kind of know your numbers and things like that. So that was something that we presented, of course. And then the builder that I was working with, I told him where I wanted to be as far as my budget was. And I think the bank saw value definitely in the land that I was purchasing and where it was and what it was priced at and the other things that were being built around. Because I think that they were also supporting a lot of the things moving into that area as well. So they had a good finger on the pulse as well for what was coming to where I was building the practice. So I think when a bank knows those things, they're a little bit more able to support you, especially if you've been a client of theirs for a long time.
Mhm.
Now, what we weren't sure of is, when we bought the land the second time around, it was 3 times the size of the lot that I bought closer to the city. And my first practice, one problem that we always had was parking. And we ended up having to rent spaces from an office next door to be able to accommodate our team parking so that the patients could park in our parking lot. So when we bought this new lot for the second go around, they said, "How big do you want the building to be?" And I said, "Well, we need to work backwards from parking. I want the building to be as big as it can so it supports the real estate investment for the size of the lot, but we really need to think about parking first." So we worked with a civil engineer to create a layout of, what we felt the best position of the building would be for visibility from the street. We played a little bit with different parking arrangements to make sure we had the correct number of handicap spots and accessibility. And then the way that I wanted the building designed, because we do sedation, I wanted to be able to have easy access and a separate entry and exit for our sedation patients,
Yeah.
just for the workflow that we had. So that was another important thing that we needed to do before we decided the exact size of the building. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but
No,
these
I
were
love
kind of,
it.
they're not like, you would think that they'd be all separate thoughts and
Yeah.
plans, but they kind of all tie into each other. And when I built the first practice, I had no idea. I didn't
Yeah.
know any of this stuff, but you really need to have a vision for how you want to use the space, even if you're
Yes.
not going to be using the whole space. You have to know and be able to have a vision for how you want to grow into it so that down the road things go a lot smoother and you're not doing these big remodel projects or having to look for another space that's even bigger.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 1000%. In my first location, Rich, I'm so glad you brought up this parking situation. In my first location, I owned the building and it was next door to this vacant building at the time. And the entire front lot was a connected space for parking. So at the time that I purchased the building, it seemed like there was so much parking that was shared. After I moved in, the next person who bought the building next to me converted that into a senior care facility. And what he did, he's not the nicest neighbor in the world. I have lots of stories that I won't share today, maybe another time. But what he did was he was complaining about our patients parking in his side so much that he ended up hiring a construction crew and they separated this giant parking lot, and then he put little trees and bark in between our two properties just to make sure that my patient stayed on my side and he got the lay of the land, basically. So now I only have 5 parking spots for my 2,000 square foot 6-op building, which is such a nightmare. So when my second location, when I found that building, the first thing that I looked at was parking. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, this is like heaven. Everybody has a place to park and room for my employees. Right now, my employees in the Folsom office, they have to park behind an alley on one side of the street and in front of another building on another part of the street, just because my neighbor did that. So if you are listening at home, let this be a cautionary tale. It isn't just the size of the building you are looking at. You want to make sure to accommodate your patients. Obviously, if you live in a city and patients are used to not bringing cars to the appointments, it's one thing. But man, what's the easiest way to not get a patient to come to an appointment that they honestly don't even really want to go to in the first place? Is don't have a parking spot for them.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, Rich, for thinking about that. $250,000. That's how much the average dental practice loses every year to empty chairs, no-shows, last-minute cancellation, gaps that just sit there. Casper's Opportunity Finder constantly checks your schedule and sees every gap the second it opens and helps your team fill it with one single click. And for every Open Dental user, it's completely free. Go to meetcasper.com/register to download it today, because profit isn't the opposite of purpose. It's what funds it. I want to backtrack. For those who didn't listen to your first episode, can you remind everybody what the size of the lot is that you purchased?
Yeah, it's like right around point .9, so we're just under 1 acre.
Just under 1 acre.
Um, yeah, just 1 acre. And it's actually in a planned development as part of a commercial, one of two commercial spaces within like a residential area.
Nice.
So we felt pretty good about it because they also like I'm not part of the HOA like long term. The commercial spots aren't. So that was another thing that you want to look out for. If you're going to be part of a planned development, what are your ongoing expenses as far as, do you have to contribute to road maintenance? Do you have to do your landscaping a certain way? What are the restrictions on signage? Because signage can be a huge deal in areas that are growing, and what they limit you as far as, what colors can it be? How big can it be? And that's extremely important when you are putting this type of money into a building and you want it to stand out. And that was something that was really strict rules when we were closer to the city. The city had way stricter rules as far as, what was the landscaping that was going in, what was the design of the building. They made me put in these two bike racks. Our city downtown really promotes a healthy lifestyle. So we have, even in the city streets, we have like bike lanes. And like, I just remember being like, who is going to ride their bike to the dentist? And I did have one patient that did, and two of my buddies that are bikers, just as a joke, one day they rode their bikes and hooked them up and took pictures and stuff like that and posted on social media. But just absurd stuff that you wouldn't really normally want to spend money on.
Yeah. Okay, so the lot size is 0.9 acres. And then what is the building size that you're going to build?
It's 7,500 square feet. It's 5,000 on the first floor.
The building. Okay, so 5,000 is going to be on the first floor and
Yeah.
2,500 on the second floor.
Yep.
And going back to your civil engineer, so how many parking spaces did you guys end up planning for?
We ended up with 30 spots, and we kind of worked at a formula that I had just heard on a podcast one time, that you kind of want to have 2.5 spots per operatory. And we ended up having a little bit less than that, but two of our operatories are more set up for
Surgical.
surgery. Yeah. So, and to be honest, after COVID, we found that a lot of our patients will wait in the car or Uber or have somebody drop them off. So we're not too concerned. There's enough land also that if I ever needed to park in the grass, or it's within a neighborhood, so there might be some street parking for one or two cars that maybe people won't complain about. We'll see about that. But if we need to, I think there's some ways around it.
Oh man, I can't wait for us to talk about just like the design of this building. That's where
Yeah.
like my heart lies. But I know we have to get through all of this financing stuff. What was the reasoning behind not necessarily shopping different lenders? It was because your relationship with your initial bank was just so strong, you didn't feel the need to look around at other offerings.
I mean, I still looked around,
Oh, you did.
but
Okay.
yeah, but it would have had to been a way better offer. And I don't know. I believe once you have a team of people that have supported you, like they supported me when I wanted to do an acquisition merger on my first building. And then they were really good about helping me refinance when those interest rates were really low during that time. And so I don't know. I do all my banking with them. They have a great reputation, and they're committed to seeing the area grow. And I feel good about the people that I deal with here, and we've become friends. So it's, even though I think in business you have to separate the emotion out of it sometimes, I think that the best business relationships are the ones that there's some friendship there too, and because you can support each other, and I think everybody wins.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And did you have to put a down payment, one, and two, a personal guarantee?
Yeah, so there are personal guarantees with other assets that you have, and of course, the whole life insurance policy that they
Mm.
have you do and stuff like that. But with the first practice, I put more down because I didn't have a history with the bank. I didn't have private ownership in a business that I could show them what I had done in the past to prove that I was a reputable client to take on. This one, though, I did a presentation of like all the assets that we have, investments, things like that. But it was important to me to put as little down as possible. And in the past, I didn't really realize how important liquidity is and having cash on hand and being able to keep your money working for you. So if you can, you want to put down as little as possible. And they really worked with me to put down a lot less than what some of the other big banks like, First Citizens or Bank of America or Wells Fargo would have made me do.
Now, does Trish work in your dental office, or does she have a separate
No,
career?
she has her own thing. She's a rock star. She is People sometimes will be like, "Why does your wife work?" It's because my wife wants to work. It is definitely
Yeah.
not because I make my wife work. She's a go getter and she really has big aspirations to do big things. But when I was in dental school, she was in pharmaceutical sales, and then when we moved to South Carolina, she was in that for a little bit. But then she wanted to go back to school, and she became a nurse, and she did that for several years. And then after COVID happened, because of the growth that we were seeing at the office, she came and helped out because it was one of those things. I either have to find some type of manager that I don't know anything about and pay them way more than she was making to try to make this happen, or we can, work together and see how this goes. And we really do work really well together. We did grow the practice tremendously, and she's really, really good at what she did. And I'm amazed still at how fast she learned what she learned. But there was we just couldn't separate the business from
Yeah.
home. So like we could never shut it off. So once I sold the practice, she went off and did her own thing. And she actually stayed in dentistry. She works for a DPO
Oh,
out west.
really?
She works remotely. But yeah, she does their onboarding, credentialing, RCM. She goes out to offices that are struggling with their accounts receivable and helps them put systems in place. And she's just really good at what she does. So she's my secret weapon. I'm sure
I
she'll be
love it.
involved in
I
some
love it.
aspect, but not on a day to day.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you guys are quite the power couple. The reason why I asked if she has another like separate career is, did your bank also want to look at her income when they determined the total amount of loan that they were going to approve you for?
They didn't need to, I don't think they need to see it
Okay,
because of what they were going to offer for the loan, but they do like to know that, there's some type of steady income
good. Okay.
coming in. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Oh, well, I mean, this is no small feat that you're building. You bought the land, did ground up construction. You're building a 7,500 square foot, 2-story masterpiece. I can't wait to see what that's going to look like. Let's go off of something you said earlier too. You mentioned HOA, and this is something that I'm so glad you talked about, because if you are looking at purchasing a building, you have to know all of the hidden costs. It's not just the building. And similarly, I bought my second location thinking it was one set fee and yada yada yada. At the time, the HOA was peanuts, is what they told me. They're like, "Oh, it's like $75 a month." Fast forward, every month is $1,100. I'm like, how did we go from $75 to 1,100? And it's not like you can just not pay it, because that includes the landscaping, the parking, the maintenance, the garbage, all of that. So there are a lot of hidden costs, guys. Make sure that your realtor is really knowledgeable and getting all of that information for you. And this is why having a partner that this isn't his first rodeo, his or her first rodeo, like that, they will help lead those questions. It's a scary thing to just throw out all this money and then have all these things that You never even thought, like, you don't know what you don't know. And there are
Yeah.
so many unknowns. That's why I love that Rich has done this before. And do you see how he's like, oh, in my first one, but I learned my second one. It's so
Yeah, it's
true.
and you would think like people would be like, "Oh, you did this before. This round should be
Yeah.
easier." I think being naive and not knowing can
Yeah.
sometimes be easier because
Oh, 100%.
once you know what you know, then
Yeah.
there's a lot more questions that you have, and yeah, it's a lot.
Hey, friends, I just want to give some love to Net32 for supporting this episode. If you're a practice owner like me, you know the back end of running a dental office isn't always sexy, but it is necessary. Net32 is an online marketplace where you can compare brands, vendors, and prices all in one place. That means you're not overpaying or wasting time. And when you're building a startup or juggling multiple practices, every dollar and every minute matters. I've used Net32 and it's honestly made a huge difference. Check them out at net32.com/the making of. And now let's get back to the show.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like signage, when you talked about your signage issue, my first office in Folsom is part of Old Folsom, like the historic district. And if you look at my building, there are, it's such an old school like facade. And there's just the word dentistry on top of the building. And the whole time I'm like, oh, I can't wait to make that more modern, do a little glow up. Come to find out, we have to go to the city of Folsom. It's part of historic district. If we decided to take off the word dentistry, we are not allowed to put another sign up. That's literally what they told me. So the only like signage I have had to be approved by the board of my city. And it's like so old school. I'm like, okay. So a lot of people, it's actually really funny because if you drive by it, it looks like just another old building. And then patients come in and they're like, wow, we really didn't expect this, which is kind of cool. But
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, it's cool. But you also like, I want people to drive by and like see a beautifully lit up sign, and
Yeah,
see, I, yeah. So signage is expensive.
very. Yeah,
Jeez Louise, like
yeah.
have you already gone through permitting and all of that for the signage?
Yeah, we have, and they've been the city of Fountain Inn where I'm building the practice. They've been really, really good to work with.
Oh, good.
They allow signage on the building. They allow uplighting as long as it's done in a tasteful way. I also didn't present anything that was like this, 20-foot neon bright sign or anything
Yeah,
like that because
yeah.
I wanted it to be tasteful too. But we were fortunate that the layout of our building is where it is in proximity to the street that it's on. It's close enough to where I didn't have to do an additional monument sign, or at
Oh,
least I didn't feel
nice.
like I did. So all of our signage is on the building, which is nice.
Is- Second location, Rich, there is monument signage that is already established and it only, so basically where I put Smiling Co. is connected to this bigger building. And that building, it's an event venue. Like people have weddings there and they already have a monument signage. To get our name onto their monument signage was $10,000. And I was like, I'm good. I don't need any more signage.
Yeah.
You just really don't think about this stuff. I
Yeah.
and our patients talk about it all the time. We're like, it was hard to find you. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm too cheap. If
Yeah.
you can call us, we'll give you directions. Sorry, guys.
I've learned other ways though too. Like a lot of times they won't approve a sign. I didn't do this, but I mean if they allow a flagpole with an American flag that's uplit, that's a way to go because you can tell patients to look for the flagpole because not every business around you is gonna have a flagpole. Or if you're doing landscaping and they're not specific about the landscaping, you can plant specific things that are more vibrant or grow taller so that plant more mature trees and you can tell them, look for this. I think there's some ways around it that are definitely less expensive if you can do it.
Yes. No. Always try to to search the cheaper option for sure.
Yeah.
How what is going on at the moment for your building?
So we're pretty far ahead. We have the drywall up. They've mudded
Already?
all yeah, drywall's up. They've mudded all the joints. The building's painted.
Oh my
Um,
gosh,
I
Rich,
was
I
at,
had no
yeah,
idea.
yeah, I was out there this morning and they're laying the frame for the sidewalks. So we're coming along pretty good.
So when is the target completion date again?
That's the magic question, right? We are projected to finish in June. And so
Okay.
I think the plan right now is to do a softer opening toward the end of June and then start to increase our days depending on how we're feeling after 4th of July.
Oh my gosh. For some crazy thing, I really thought you were just like breaking ground. I didn't realize like you were this far along. When did you start this process exactly?
We purchased the lot officially in June and then we broke ground mid-October.
Of last year.
Yeah.
So they are working fast.
Yeah, they're working fast. But yeah, they're I'll tell you who's working faster though, and I would be a little leery if my people were working this fast. We're in that planned development. Those spec houses, they go up in a matter of weeks. It
That's
is wild to
crazy.
me.
Yeah, I believe it. Time is money. That dang. Do you remember any permitting costs that you had to pay for from the city to build?
Not off the top of my head. Some of the more expensive things that were involved in the process were the civil engineering
Okay.
was a pretty hefty cost. The architectural fees were definitely
Okay.
up there.
Okay, this is where I want to go next. Oh gosh. We're already 50 minutes in and now I'm like, wait, okay. I've now my head, this is like what everybody wants to know. So we talked about financing and you didn't have to put much down, you said, for
Mhm.
this building, which is awesome. And before we move on from financing, when do you have to start repaying back that note?
So the first 24 months, let's back up a little bit further too. These are two separate loans.
Okay,
We have
you have
we
two
have our
loans.
yeah, we have our real estate loan, which
Okay.
involves the purchase of the land and the building itself, and that's in its own entity. And
And
then we
that's
have
an SBA loan.
no, none of these are SBA. They're just
How did you do that without an SBA loan? That's where my head goes.
um
Gee,
I don't know.
that's not fair. I need to move to South Carolina. Okay, so two loans, one for
Yeah.
the building and the land.
Yeah, and then one for the practice. So let's call it construction, real estate, and then FFE loan, which is the practice loan, the furnitures, fixtures, and equipment.
Gotcha. Okay. And you didn't have to put anything down for either of those two loans.
I did for the real estate,
Okay.
but it was
10%?
less than 10%,
Okay.
and then nothing down for the FFE loan.
Okay. And then when do you start paying back?
So the first 24 months are interest only, and they are based on the amount that I'm drawing. So I'm paying interest on only what I've used out of that loan currently.
So
And then
you've already started those payments or when your doors open?
no, I've already started
You
paying
started.
on what I've drawn. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the first 24 months are interest only, and then after 24 months it's interest and principal.
Gotcha. And that goes for both of them. And then do you have somebody at the bank that is being
Yeah.
the organizer,
Yeah. Yep. And that's another thing why I like them so much is they make frequent site visits. They have a relationship with the builder that I'm using, so they know the quality of the work, what to look for, and then they check with me to make sure that I'm happy with everything before those funds are released. And they work with and have relationships with.
Mhm.
And if those subcontractors aren't paid on time,
Yep. No, for sure.
then that can damage the relationship. So it's been really good to work with people that take care of their own people because we've been able to get those funds out when they need to be dispersed and people are paid on time, and it's just gone really smooth.
Okay, and now do you mind sharing a range of what you paid for civil engineering?
To be honest with you, I would have to look it up.
Look
I
at
should
okay.
probably, yeah, I should probably come more prepared the next time with some
No, no,
numbers if you
it's
want specifics.
okay, so besides the civil engineering, you are working with an architect, and I am curious how you found this architect.
The architect came as a recommendation from the builder that I was using. They knew what kind of style I was going with, and so they presented two architect firms to me, and then told me which one that they would lean towards. And because I trusted the builder, I kind of just put all my efforts into vetting the one architect, and I look at some of the projects that they did, and then I also sent them kind of a vision photo that I had for the practice, and their rendering that they came back was just spot on for what I wanted to do. Um, so I knew it was a good fit.
And how many pre-planning meetings have you done with the architect? Like, because I also worked with an architect for the second location.
Hmm.
I'm just curious if are they dental specific, or they just build lots of buildings?
No, the architect wasn't. Yeah, the architect wasn't dental specific. They were commercial specific, but not dental specific.
Okay.
Um, but I knew how many dental offices my builder has built and medical offices, so I felt good that once we had the plans, between the builder and our equipment specialists with the dental company we're using, that all that could be ironed out.
And your architect, you had in-person meetings because they're local, or was it
Yeah,
someone?
yeah, they're local. We had probably 4 or 5 personal meetings, but to be honest, they were really only involved those first couple months, and then
Gotcha.
after we had a set of plans, I haven't had too much communication with them. Or
Gotcha.
I haven't needed to.
Will you please send me renderings? I just want to
Yeah,
see it,
sure.
Rich.
Yeah,
And then we can add those to the newsletter too. So if you want to
yeah.
see some renderings for Rich's beautiful new building, make sure to join the newsletter. Okay, guys? What else? So with the architect, they also have their own in-house designer, I presume, or did you have someone else marry your vision with their architecture?
They had their own design team for the appearance of the building on the exterior. And then we kind of married that with our marketing company as far as logo and logo placement went. And then my builder had a interior design person for furniture and things like that. And then we're working with another company to do some unique things with printed things and wallpapers and just some logoing and branding throughout the office.
Okay, so I think this is a perfect place to stop, because this will segue into my personal favorite, which is branding, design, vision, the whole reason why we want to do a startup in the first place. We get to design everything from the ground up. So you guys don't want to miss next episode with Dr. Rich. We're going to walk through all of that and then some, and then you're going to give me some photos, and I'm really excited, Rich. This is going to be here before you know it. This is insane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it will be.
it will be. And you guys make sure to message Rich, message us at the Making Of or in the Facebook group if you have specific questions that you want us to chat about. And stay tuned, because we're going to dive deep into all the things that light us both up. I can tell Rich is going to be so excited for that episode.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We will catch you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Ashley. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.